Like even I remember filming it, people are like, what's this show that you're filming? I'm like, why are you not free? You're always busy.
Yeah.
What's this Baby Reindeer? I'm like, guys, trust and believe it's gonna be good.
Mekel, so celebrity stylist?
Yeah, stylist stroke costume designer now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would love to know,
Yeah.
is this something that you trained in? What's your
No.
backstory?
Yeah. Everyone answers me that, and everyone's face, I'm like, what? So no, never fashion trained, which is a bit weird. I actually was studying to be an actor. That's what I wanted to do from a young age. So as young as I can remember, from 5 or 6, yeah, I did my first job like on a music video, and was always like stage school, drama schools, and then did it in college, and then was about to go to drama school, Rose Bruford, and just didn't attend. I just decided that there was a lot of fear and other things going on in my life at the time when I was a teenager. And yeah, I just decided to go down a different route. But I started on music video sets as like a runner when I was like 19, and just worked my way up. But they've done a million and one roles that all, when you look at it, all build or lay on top of each other. That has got me to where I am today. It's been a long, long slog.
Yeah.
And a different way. I guess there's no conventional way. It's not that, oh, he went to uni, he assisted, then that kind of way that many stylists or creatives go down. It was me like kind of learning a lot on the job, also learning from many mentors that I had over the years. But a huge person, or like kind of a platform that helped me in my early days was Gok One. So I assisted Gok on many of his TV shows, like Fashion Fix and How to Look Good. And so yeah, that working in that way at a very young age with him, he kind of was my university in a different way.
Yeah, right. Oh, sweet. I mean, I used to love those shows. Like, what were they? How to Look Good?
Well, I worked more on like it was a Fashion Fix. So you know when
Okay.
it's like him and Brick Smart and they go down the catwalk, the models, like, so one's high street, one's designer, and then the audience kind of vote on like what was high street, what's designer, what looks best.
Yeah.
So working on such a fast-paced TV show, you know, pulling all the clothes from the high street stores or the brands, PRs, working in a team in that way, working with the models, and then, you know, learning from Gok himself. So that was, experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that era of TV doesn't exist anymore.
No. Yeah.
And it's actually funny to think about some of the shows then. So like 10 Years Younger being one of them. It's like they used to parade people down the street and go, how old do you think this person is? And then they'd be like, 40, 50.
Yeah.
Actually, they were like 31 or something.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, a Gok would be like, turn around, there's you on Times
That's
Square.
it. And then it's like,
Yeah. Well, that sounds
times.
like such a good way for you to have gotten into it. Like, so you were kind of asked to just assist.
Well, no. So actually, me, when I was working on music videos, like as a runner, every time the stylists or creators will come in, or the talent, I would always find my way in the green room or with the talent. And always after the shoots, they would always complain about me to Luty, the production manager. So one day Luty called me over and said, look, mate, it's like, this can't keep happening. Like, you're just a runner. Why do they keep complaining about you? That's not your job. I'm like, well, because I can do this. I'm like really interested in this. And alongside that, I was also trying to get into visual merchandising.
Right.
So he's like, look, N-Dubs, they have a performance next week. Here's, I think it was like £250, £500. Go and get them an outfit. Let's do this. I went shopping, bought them all an outfit from Westfields, and it was for a T4 performance, and they loved it. They're like, okay, great, come back again. I started working with N-Dubs, and in that, it was about a year and a half of me just working on their music videos and working on their second album promo. And then the big break came when I did Kelly Rowland for X Factor. So that was a huge moment again in 2011, working with such a high profile client.
I bet she's so nice.
Kelly was like the utter dream.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've worked with many talents, and I think she's like top 3 of this. She's utter class in every way, like so professional, firstly, in every way. Such a lady, so much character, so much drive, but she's also so involved in the fashion side of it. It's not just, oh, these are my stylists, show me what you got, let's just try stuff on. She was sitting with us some days in her hotel room, like, oh, what are you guys looking at? Where, like let's build this. Do you know what I mean? She really knows her stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just a dream to work with her in every way.
And that sounds like, I mean, I'm sure you can get some like monsters in terms of clients in the celebrity world.
Yeah.
So to have that as one of your first high
Yeah.
profile artists to work with sounds like such a great landing into the industry. So what of celebs have you worked with since now? I know that you've worked with Nicki Minaj.
So Nicki Minaj as well. That was around the same time as Kelly. So just before Kelly. That's when she literally first came out. So she came over to the UK for her first UK promo. So it was me. So her main stylist was Jessica Bosch, and it was me, Joelle, and Jessica, and that was the glam team. Us three, literally.
So this was Pink Fridays.
This was all Pink Friday.
Era.
Anything in the UK that you saw was us three. And
so cool.
Yeah, so it was all the big crazy wigs, those big costumes.
Yeah.
And working on that was a great opportunity as well.
And is that led by her, that image, or was that very much like you guys as a team saying like, this is the direction we want to take you in?
A bit of both. A lot of it did come from Jessica Bosch, like the head lead stylist. Sadly, who actually no longer is with us today. She actually passed away. So that's quite sad. But yeah, that was heavily led by Jessica and Nicki, and then me and Joelle kind of supported that and worked on that.
Right.
So that was great. And just like seeing even like those moments where we actually had interaction with her as well. It wasn't just, oh, we're just getting the clothes running around. So to see her, meet her, yeah, very surreal. Looking back at those days way before Instagram, trying to be this, profile online, it was just do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And was she as involved, and was she
again
a dream
heavily
to work
involved?
with?
In a different way. It wasn't so hands-on like it was with Kelly. It was more present the clothes, you talk through it, and then you leave.
Right.
But again, high professional. She knows what she wants.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't as Kelly would be sitting here like with us. It wasn't that kind of. It was like, you go now. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
You've done the job for the day. We were literally living with Kelly.
Yeah.
Non-stop every day, all day.
Sometimes I get overwhelmed with like the waste of fashion, and like if something's worn once, which loads of celebrities do, you're like, where do all these things end up?
A lot of them, like the big dogs, like I definitely know they have archives, and then things are like vacuum pressed or like kept to be preserved for long periods of times in case they might want to bring it back for shows or bring it back for shoots later in the, do you know what I mean? Or museums keep them. There are costume places that like look after them. So I know that's like a lot of their key looks somewhat are kept for whatever purpose, who knows. But yeah.
And you've worked on fashion weeks, right?
Yeah, worked on fashion weeks, like as in dressing behind the shows. I've done a fashion week show. Yeah, that's another world as well in itself. Fashion weeks. It's like this pandemonium of.
Do you like it? Like the energy of those?
When I first started going, yeah, I was amazed. And then it got a bit, yeah, it's work. Then I realized, then you become too selective. Oh, I'm only going to that show. And then it's all, oh, I'm only going if I'm in front row. It can breed a bit of an ego, I think, and a bit of a who's who, which
the front row thing's so embarrassing, isn't
so
it? Watching
stupid.
people. So I've like filmed them, so luckily I don't have to pretend like I'm muscling in on any row. But like when I see like people being like, oh, they're in her seat, and then the PR person's running around with the mic, and you're like, oh, it's so like,
yeah, I've seen some crazy things, or like I've even been sat down front row and can you move over, or. But like seeing people who aren't meant to sit there, and then they come over to them and ask them to get up, and it's that they know it in themselves, and you're just watching from afar and just laughing. But yeah, that is fun. It's definitely an experience. I think anyone in the fashion industry should definitely go and see for themselves and take that moment in and experience it.
In terms of like tricks of the trade, it's like like so I used to work on McDonald's adverts.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the tricks would be that in every fry was a toothpick to keep them perfectly straight.
Oh wow. Okay.
So when you see the big pictures of them like kind of up on billboards, they've all got toothpicks in them.
Okay.
So my question to you is like in terms of like the tricks of the trade in terms of styling. Like I'm sure there's loads of like funny ones. So like there's tape here. There's like something like if you look at Kim Kardashian at the Met Gala, like when she did that like Mugler thing, which her waist was just
cinched in.
Yeah, cinched in. You're, like as someone that knows nothing, I'm like, is that real? What's going on there?
So things like that, yeah, I know, and even I've heard stories before of certain artists like with the tape around their body, which is somewhat true. Obviously, there's the little cheeks of like tape can do wonders of holding things breast up. There's also the Spanx underneath, so Spanx can really suck you in.
Yeah.
Then I guess more for an image, how to cheat things. You can just clamp things at the back.
Right.
So it can look a mess at the back, but at the front it can look this perfect image.
And have you ever styled a drag queen? Because I feel like drag queens have a million hacks.
I've worked with Ella Day before. So
nice.
when I worked on Some Otherhood, a film with by Adam Deacon and with Adam Deacon, Ella Day was one of the cameo cast in it. And it was actually a great day because when she came in, so a lot of the cameos we just selected from their wardrobes, and then we would pick like, they present to me, I would pick top 3 with Adam, and then we just like decided on that day instead of like the main cast who was then had the costume. So Ella Day came in, and me and her were on the trailer, and I remember just seeing the transformation from beginning to end, like her coming as a dressed as a guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the wrong terms here.
Yeah.
She's so lovely, and just seeing hair, makeup, pads, and I just sat there.
How many hours was this?
It was a couple hours.
Yeah.
A couple hours. I think maybe 2, 3. But it was just amazing. And yeah, just so that transformation, I'm like, wow, this is like no joke here.
Yeah. I mean, for you as a stylist, like that's a whole nother, it's that body illusion, which
that's what
which I suppose that you wouldn't do.
The most would just be like really like chicken fillets, if anything, to accentuate the breast, maybe like a strapless bra, push-up bra, somewhat bum pads in like again Spanx sister, but nowhere to that way of.
Would guys ever pad the front if they're doing an underwear campaign?
More like sometimes, you might get like a bit of tissue paper underneath a shirt just to pad up the chest a little bit, or on the shoulders again.
Not the briefs.
I've never worked in that way. That's
I always wonder in RuPaul's Drag Race, I don't know if you watch it, but the pit crew come out and then you're like, have they got a sock in there or something like that?
They might have a cock pad, there's like a thing you can put inside. It's more for, my mind's gone blank when you work on film.
Like a sort of like if you're doing a sex scene, you're wearing a cock pad. Yeah,
something like that. So it could potentially be that, or they might just be wound out.
Have you worked on a film when you've had to do like
intimacy stuff? Yeah.
Really?
So even in Baby Reindeer, we had to do sex scenes. A few shows I worked on that we've had to use stuff like that. Yeah.
And what's typically what are they doing? Because I do wonder actually if there's like 2 actors. Are they not fully naked? They're wearing.
They will. So that the guy will wear like. It's funny because I remember for Baby Reindeer, I had tried it on myself. Me and my costume supervisor, we created this cock thing for Richard. And I was like, well, there's only one way to try it, to see if it works. And she's like, are you for real? I'm like, well, yeah. So I went to the back of the trailer, I tried it on, I came out. There's no videos of this online, by the way. And so it's like a little sock that you put over, and then there's like a hard shell. So then if you was to somewhat be aroused, it would never touch the other person because it's touching against that. Yeah.
Right, okay. Hold on, let me just think about this. I'm trying to imagine it.
Yeah.
The sock.
It's like a little sock, kind of like.
Oh, you put the sock over your dick?
Yeah.
Oh, the dick and balls are just the shaft.
Yeah, and then you kind of get it all in.
Oh, I never knew that. That's interesting. Do you think is that like something that you came up with yourself, or is that?
No, like that. There are things, but we were just making the shape a bit different.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you warmed it up. You were like, I'll try it first.
There's all like garden stuff that you wear that you would never see. And then like even like a thong or stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess like topless is fine.
Topless is fine. It's just obviously then making sure there's someone on set, like an intimacy person, coordinator, to make sure that everything is approved and done in the right way.
I have to talk about Baby Reindeer.
Yes.
So like you must be so proud to be such a big part of it. Were you the lead stylist or?
So I was head of costume for Baby Reindeer.
And that's amazing. It's the biggest show in the world right now.
Yeah, that's very surreal. Thank you. I pinch myself every day thinking about that. Like, no offense, like it's part of history for 2024. Like that is the biggest TV show. And knowing that things like got 100% Rotten Tomatoes and all of those like things, what's come with it, all of the fame, if you want to call it, or the notoriety stuff, which is great. But knowing that I was part of that, has definitely put a lot of eyes on me, which is very overwhelming.
Yeah.
That I'm not used to in that way. But for the right reasons, do you know what I mean? So people realizing that, well, he's doing something right. And I think when you can see a well-made show, and it's not just the costume, it's the hair and makeup, it's the production design, it's the direction, all of it together cohesively, we all work so hard on that show, and you can now see why, what's happened with that. But yeah, being head of costume for that was an experience. I remember when got confirmed for prior to getting the interview stages and getting so close to it, and it was my birthday, and I just turned 33, and I had this massive party right at the end of it. I just broke down, started crying. And I think my friend's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like, this job is too long. I'm like, it's 20 something weeks. And then even to think the job even got longer than that. And just thinking, when I remember when we started, just thinking, am I really ready for this? Can I do this? And having those conversations with my agent, and them believing in me, and to think, yeah, we did it. And at the end of it, Richard, the producer's like, mate, you just smashed it. We can't say anything. There was never a bad day. And so, yeah, looking back at it, it's like, wow, we did that. But now I'm eager and hungry for something more now.
Yeah.
I feel like after working on the show for that length of time and giving it my 100% every day, and having such a great team as well. It's not just myself. There was like my supervisor, Imogen, Daniel, Georgia, Phoebe, like my standbys and trainee. Like we were a little team. And then on top of that, there was other days when we had our dailies who come in. And then we had Inca and the child of Diego who made the suit for us. So there was other elements to the costume team, but it all falls on me no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that, got to do all the meetings and present every day to the producers and directors, and making sure everyone in the team is happy and coming in every day and taking on their weight. And it's, no matter what, you still got to smile and push through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the constant, one week it's 4 a.m. starts, then the next week it might be night shoots, and then one week you're off, and then you're back on, and then you're driving to every part of London in the morning and packing up. It was a long job, but I loved every part of it, especially working with Martha, Jessica Gunning. She was just creme de la creme. Like, she's so professional. Like, so talented. It's like she ate the real person and then gave it even more on top. And again, she reminds me of working with Kelly, being so involved of that artistry level, when someone isn't just, okay, I'm gonna wear this today. From the fitting, well, me and Jessica actually had a dinner first, or like a little tea, before even starting fittings, and just to meet each other, to familiarize ourselves with each other and understand her safe place with body shapes, how she wants to be, how she envisions Martha, how I envisioned the character. And then from the fitting throughout, and then even through filming, just to be like, it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think here? Or why she feels certain things shouldn't be that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we really work so closely together. Yeah, she's a star.
No, she is an incredible actress. And one of the most amazing things about Baby Reindeer was the way it looked. And you are such a pivotal part in the way it looked. So Richard Gadd was right. You absolutely smashed it. Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, it looked so authentic, so real. Like, when you watch it, you're just like there in that world, and the characters feel so authentic.
I think that was the key thing, especially I knew from the beginning, was that I never wanted that to be, oh, we just bought stuff off the shop like floor, and like, hell no.
Yeah.
So what other way could anything really be true and so honest to that time period, and also just visually, was by secondhand. And a lot of it, well, yeah, majority of that whole show was secondhand shopped or charity shopped, or from my grand's wardrobe, or from my best mate's bag that he just had sitting in a wardrobe. Do you know what I mean? Everything, I just wanted to look like real clothes that had been worn years by years. So it's not as, do you know what I mean? It has character to it. And that was, thankfully, why having a long prep managed to really hone in on that.
Can you tell me about creating Martha, the character, your inspiration and your process in actually bringing her to life?
The beginning process, I'm not sure if I'm ever allowed to share the true pictures, but I actually somewhat became a stalker myself. I was always in Stoke Newington, and every area I might see a woman or a lady who somewhat in my mind looked or gave me, by just how she dressed, a Martha reference, and I'll slyly take a picture. Or some people I would ask for a picture, and there were moments I didn't, or and I built this little catalogue of images, And then I immersed myself into the real Camden space. I went to the Holy Arms. And then on top of that, on references from old films and TV shows, different characters, again, he gave me that image of, what Martha could be. And then once we understood the tones and the colors, the palette, putting that all together, and then that was, okay, this is Martha. This is how I see her, this mishap, this broken prints, and it's put together in her mind, but it's actually not put together when you look at it as a viewer. These prints, and there was this predatory element through the animal prints, and these little connotations behind why. Well, then there's the colors, and always the flowers to her childhood, and there's the brooches and all those little staple things that you're like, why does she have that? It doesn't make sense. But again, it's Martha. It would, or these little odd bags that, she's really dressed up herself to make her feel at her best. So the joys in like the charity shopping, you'd walk in certain days and there'll be like nothing there. I'm like, oh, next one.
Yeah.
Next one. And then I'd walk into some and be like, there it is, that's the bag. Or that's the top.
Yeah.
And I'd start jumping around in the middle of the shops. People look at me crazy. They'd be like, what's going on? Like, you just don't understand what's going on right now in my mind. Do you know what I mean? Because when you see, especially like the top that you see a lot of using the promo shots, that kind of patchwork Chanel-esque kind of jacket with the green and the pink and the red, when she's in the cafe and she bangs her hands on the table. I remember the day I found that, I was like, there it is. There it is. There it is.
And most of this is charity shops.
Yeah, like 95% of Jessica stuff, like the little things like tights underneath for online shopping, or like what else it was online for Jess, like bras, things like that. Do you know what I mean? That her day-to-day things, like undergarments and things like that. But the costume on the outside, yeah, was all charity shop. And like, no offense, like, let's be real, Jess isn't, some size 6 girl, pin-up girl. So even that, when you go to charity shops, it just also reminds you of how much, I guess, or I don't know, it's just highlighted. It's interesting that the availability of body size or range in different charity stores. Most of the time, there's always just like a little rail, and then different areas, then you'd see more. So South London, for some reason, had so much more variety. Yeah, for plus size women, as opposed to North London, I found. And that was definitely, especially West London, most of the time was the guys. I found more stuff for like Darien in West London, like Search, like Fulham and Putney. So whenever, I did it, like whenever we changed location for our base, then I would always go to those charity shops close by to be close to set enough. But then that's where I would prep, reach close. Yeah. But then days when I'm like, we still need more for like Martha, I'll just do postcode to postcode. And I found a lot of time I was in South London, like Streatham, or like Penge, Beckenham. Like, yeah, I found more options there for her.
Yeah.
But even like in Kingston Road, I went down all those charity shops.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so wild. To think that like maybe I was shopping next to you and then you were buying an outfit for Martha. And how closely were you working with Richard Gadd in terms of him signing stuff off?
The amazing Richard Gadd. Richard Gadd is the dream. So again, right from the beginning, I think he was on probably like the last of my interviews, very loosely. I met him then, and then it was again me and him. I went to his flat to meet him, spent like a couple of hours with him, just talking to him, getting to know him know me, talking about our work, talking about Baby Reindeer, talking about everything really. Also talk about Donny, how he sees Donny, and what is Richard's real wardrobe, and what is Donny, how did they cross over. And yeah, Richard was again the dream of working on everything. Every top made sense to him. Why is it this green? No, not that green. This red. This no. He's a pub guy. He just works in a pub, so you're not going to be going dressed dripping in designers. Where I think, and even him putting himself, trying to not be seen on TV glossy, because a lot of actors sometimes they still want to be their best, even though they know the character isn't that, but they're going to try and push for, and just being true to the character as much as possible. And then I guess the elements where we do have fun with the costume was the suit. So that was amazing to build that from scratch, and working with a pattern cutter and working with a child of the Jago, and, like sourcing all the fabric. So literally, again, 1,000,001 fabric stores, going all around London trying to find that right tartan, the right orange and the right tones of it. And we tried every combination. initially the blazer was meant to be huge, then it was meant to be small, then the shoulders were meant to be 80s, then it was boxy. There was so many back and forths on that blazer, and then the trousers.
Is this when he's doing stand-up?
Yeah, so
yeah,
that suit that you see throughout, then that suit initially was meant to have loads of pockets in it, then it wasn't, then it was meant to be baggy, then it wasn't. So people just think, oh, it's just a suit you guys got made. I'm like, guys, if only you knew that there was so many stages and conversations about that one suit. And then once we confirmed on that and started to get that made, then it was about the different colors shirts underneath. And even those small little things, the different stages where he was mentally or where he was as himself, why we chose those colors. And throughout the show, there's no blue used. Only time you see blue is when Richard wears blue. So again, even those little small moments, and why was that done and purposely done, and what was that the reason? So yeah, and then to spend all that money, well, getting the suit made, well, we had to get 2 or 3 of them made, and then to break it down. So you get the suit made, and then all right, let's grater it down, let's spray it down, let's make it look dirty, because it's not brand new. He's had this for years, and he would have found that in a charity shop. So when you look closely, you can see it's frayed at the corners and all of that, and that's again purposely done. So that was a joy in itself of we just got this made, like, let's make it look
because how much would Richard have gone, like, this is what I wore at this time of life, for you to kind of like maybe even use his own wardrobe?
Yeah, so for Richard himself, there was like, he showed me, like, when I went to his house, his flat, he showed me some of his stuff from his comedy props and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just taking some influences from it and then like making it our own.
Yeah.
That was the fun side too. I think having that free reign and not being so, this is it, you have to copy this or emulate that somewhat.
And then the reaction from the show has been absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So when you were actually making it, did you know, like, you obviously got the call Baby Reindeer, you'd had the schedule. So before the show came out on Netflix, I'd never heard of Baby Reindeer, but it was a big show in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Was it something you were did you know what it was before you signed up to it?
No, I didn't. I once signed up to it, then doing my research and what my agency told me. Obviously it was like a show, as you said, in Edinburgh, and which done very well for Richard. And then that I didn't even get to see that. So besides reading the script, all I just saw was kept Googling this #1 hit for a theatre piece as a one-man show. And knowing that, it's his true life story, which now Netflix and him have built to a TV series. Throughout it, like, even I remember filming it, people were like, what's this show that you're filming? I'm like, why are you not free? You're always busy.
Yeah.
What's this Baby Reindeer? I'm like, guys, trust and believe it's going to be good. And I just thought it was a great written show, and just the story itself was so gripping. And I think of what it shows, the other side of it, a female stalking a guy when you're so used to it being a man to a female. So for many of those reasons, I definitely felt it was going to do great. Didn't realize how great it was, but for Richard and for everybody, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, did not imagine that one bit at all. I remember it coming out and so eager to like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? And they had like a long edit, and then when they finally set the date and told us. And it's funny actually, because always before it comes out, there's a cast and crew screening. And this year, by coincidence, I was nominated for a Arrow Award, and it was on the same night as the screening. So
you missed the screening?
I was like, well, what do we do here, Tara and Mabel? Do we go to the Arrows? Do we go to the screening? And we decided to go to the Arrow Awards. So yeah, I missed the cast and crew screening. So for me, I would have saw it in advance to the world. So the same time that you saw it on Netflix.
Wow, okay.
So like all my team went, or most of them, and like, they've all seen it. And I'm like, don't tell me, but do tell me.
Yeah.
I was like, what I want to know is that, is there any mistakes? Like, so even me watching it the first time, it was just me watching it for continuity, making sure there was no errors costume wise. And once there wasn't, I was like, phew, we done our job.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice since, and I still can't watch it properly because my eyes, it's hard for me watching most things anyway nowadays.
Yeah.
Because my eyes just always look at it through a costume lens, or always looking for a mistake or complimenting the colors here. So I find it hard to watch films in a different way. Yeah.
And if you worked on it, you know the bones of it, so you can kind of like see in the background.
Yeah.
You'll be like, I was stood just over there.
Yeah.
So it kind of it's hard to watch your own project back, I imagine. But I'm sure that it's such a well-made piece of work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were like absolutely thrilled, and that everyone was just telling you how good it was.
Yeah, still to this day, even like wherever I go and someone's like, like, or walks into a room, or they know I've worked in it, or I meet someone like, congratulations, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of that recently, which is again great, but just very just not used to that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, the costume now is on display as well in LA.
Wow.
The Emmys have this activation thing prior to the Emmys where they choose their best Netflix shows that they really are going to push. And yeah, my costume's on display, my name there. I'm thinking it's right next to these huge other shows. I'm thinking, wow. So yeah, they're really pushing the costume in that suit, and Netflix, the PR team themselves, have been very supportive and like been pushing that for me. Yeah, so let's see what's next.
Amazing. As a gay person watching it as well, it kind of took me by surprise how many queer storylines there are in it. So it's been interesting to see the response from queer audiences. What's your opinion on it? And like, obviously being a gay man yourself, and was that something that you knew before it started, or?
Yeah, again, like knowing that in the story, like reading the scripts. So we had like the main read through, and you go through all the scripts, and read through as a cast together. So knowing in its entirety the complexities to that also, it was another thing as to why I want to be involved in this story, to tell stories like that and to really push that. And being a gay man myself, anything that amplifies our community, I'm all for it, done in the right way. And to work with Nava, who plays Terry, again, another dream, just like Jess. That's one thing about Baby Reindeer. Honestly, it was such a great job to work on. Like the whole cast and crew, everybody was great. But no, Nava was a dream. She was fun. Like separate to being Terry, like just in the fit-ins. Nava was an interesting character because the original way how, if you looked at my boards for Nava compared to Martha and Donny, so far removed from the end result. So I guess in the pilot episode, how Nava came across, there wasn't much to her, and it was kind of loose. Well, where do we go with this trans person, and understanding her style or who she really was in his life? And I guess it wasn't until I got all the other episodes that we realized there's so much more to that character. But definitely her costume was not the original idea. If anything, she would have been a lot more tomboy, to realize, and she played more into her femininity in that way, and the colors. And then we realized, okay, it's going to be these little crop tops and skirts. There's this baby doll element to her. There's this tease, but subtly. But then her flip side to her life, she's quite conformed as well and put together. But we could have fun with Nava, and definitely a dream to work with.
Yeah, and I guess like after now you're you're all mates with these people in the show, so you like can chat about it and like
loose mates. Funny actually, me and Richard, we actually work out a few times. We work out together now. That's our thing, fitness and Nando's.
Fitness and Nando's. I mean, God, if he goes into a Nando's, he must get absolutely swarmed nowadays.
I haven't actually seen him since
the release,
but up to the release, literally a week before the release was the last time that we worked it out together. But yeah, I'm sure his life right now, it must be manic.
Oh my God, like so, and also for someone like him, he was a pretty much unknown, so then suddenly like being given this huge platform to tell his story, which is about his life. It must have been such an overnight shift in his life.
Definitely don't know what, I can't speak for Richard, but from the outset, it must be, I think, a lot for all of them. Do you know what I mean? So, the show has done a lot in different ways. So the press and everyone wanting to answer questions, everyone wanting to know information, that must be quite exposing, I'm assuming.
Definitely.
But, Richard is more than capable, I'm sure, to be the man for it. His story is a true story. So I commend him so much for sharing that with the world and what he's done with it.
So moving away from Baby Reindeer,
Yeah,
big into fitness, aren't you?
I'm huge into fitness, so that's
How
my.
how are you slotting that in?
I was waking up sometimes an hour two before I needed to for my cool time. So like, but the great side to that, especially during Baby Reindeer, where I feel like it's one of my huge accomplishments. People call me crazy. Like even like I'd go to set. So say like okay, we had a 6 o'clock call time for me to be in I don't know, in West London. So I'd get there. So I'd wake up at like 4 and do like a 5K run, then get ready, then go to work. So then Matthew would be like, "What? You've already been up and done a 5K run? You're crazy." And then it would get around the whole set. Yeah, Mekel's done a 5K today. I'm like, guys, like, so they're like, oh, here he is, Mr. 5K. And every day, you're crazy, you're mad, you're mad. And then one day, I woke up, honestly, not intentional. I think the night before, I was like, I'm going to beat my personal best. And it was at the end of block 1. And yeah, I beat my 5K in that morning. I went to work and I smashed it. And I was like, this is for all those the days and you tell me I'm crazy.
Yeah.
This is why. I don't know, it's just a self thing for myself. But no, that was my way of staying sane. That's how I do it now as well, in between work. It's like my outlet, really. Do you know what I mean? Instead of me going crazy with drink, and when I was younger, I'm not gonna lie, I had, you know, recreational drugs and being out and like seeing a party and a lot, you can somewhat get very swayed with that. So for me personally, the best way to stay on it and is to work out.
So is you now and your routine very different to what it was in your 20s?
100%.
What was your life like in your 20s? Were you going out a lot?
Partying a lot, and that was more in the fashion world. You know, that's also, it breeds part and part of that. You know, every day is like another opening of something, or another event, or another fashion week, another private dinner, and in that it can be fun, but it can also be quite burnout. And for me, I somewhat lost weight over different periods and times with that, and got very caught up in the just let's keep going, let's drink more, let's party more. And yeah, there were good moments, there were bad moments, but in that looking back at that old version of myself, definitely like, bro, you needed a hug. But I'm glad I went through that, especially then, than I am now later in my life, and able to see those triggering moments in myself. But yeah, wouldn't give it up, wouldn't, do you know what I mean, change it for the world. But definitely I'm in a much better space, I feel, now I'm growing up.
Do you have a child?
I do have a son.
Yeah, you have a son. I think I saw you being interviewed
yes,
saying that you did. So like that's another thing to
yeah, so Damien is the joy of my life. This morning, getting ready, after I came back from doing a class, in the shower, getting ready to come here, I was thinking about the reason why I don't often talk about Damien is the backstory to Damien. Basically, Damien was adopted when he was 3 by my ex-boyfriend and myself. When I was in a relationship with a much older guy at a very young age. I feel like I'm exposing a lot here. And I don't often talk about this often, only like very close people know the backstory there. And basically over the years, the last 13, 14 years, me and my ex had just have a very up and down relationship. And there's good moments, there's bad moments. And in those good and bad moments, my ex basically orchestrates how much I can and can't see Damien. And after us breaking up, that's been his somewhat power over myself or the relationship that I have with Damien. So there'll be years where it's, be daddy number 2, school, half term, parents' evening. Then, no, you can't see him. And that's probably one of my biggest things that, like, no matter how much I smile to the world and people think you're always happy, or like, that's like my pain every day that I walk around with. That sometimes I can't be so heavily involved in his life, or I don't have the access to him that, I would love to. And, you know, when you just love someone and want to nurture someone and be a part of someone's life so much, and it's not within your control.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Damien, that's where the story is with Damien. So I don't get to see him often as much when he was younger, where it was like more heavily involved in his life.
And how old's Damien now?
He's 16 now.
He's 16?
Yeah, he's a big boy. Damien's like taller
Wow.
than me. He's got his little moustache. He's into fitness.
Wow. I mean, being a dad to a 16-year-old, like, I mean, he's going to be 18 soon.
Yeah,
and then he's like a full man, like living his life. That must be such a strange feeling.
Yeah, I was like 20, 21.
Yeah.
Damien's like my little moonchild. Honestly, it was really hard in the beginning. I was like, 21, still understanding who I am in the world, trying to get my career on path, sexuality, being in a relationship, all those things, living in the household with another guy, paying it was a lot, like, and I thought was the height or pinnacle moment of my career working with a celebrity, because that's when I was doing Kelly Rowland as well. So there was a lot all at one time in my life. One thing that I think he knows, no matter what, is that I love him unconditionally, and I think that's the key thing. And yeah, excited to see who he becomes in the world, and the little man he is and how he grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a new partner?
I don't actually know. I'm currently single, but currently dating. So I am dating someone, which is very new still to me, which, yeah. But
do you want to give him a shout out?
Not gonna do that. No. But we're not together in that way. So no. Just I have met someone recently who I really do like, and we're just seeing where that goes. But yeah.
Is like having more kids something that you think about?
Yeah, definitely would love. I'm not sure how, whether it's adopting, whether it's biologically or not. It doesn't matter. Just to give a child a loving home and to help. Yeah,
I guess that's an important thing for you with whoever you date, is that if that's such a big thing for you and your in your future plans, that they also need to be aligned on that, because I know that with gay guys it's like it's not a given that they're going to want kids.
Yeah, and that's 100%. So yeah, whoever the person is, just know that.
Yeah.
Kids is a must.
Yeah.
But one day. Yeah.
And right getting excited about like putting them in clothes.
Like I it's like so cute, or just there's these little beings looking up to you, and like and you're going through all the hurdles of life with them, whether it's school, helping them with their confidence, whether it's just empowering them, loving them, nurturing them, making them feel safe and secure in the world. All those things that you go through as a child yourself, and now give back to another person. But I just think love is, I know it sounds so cliche, but love is the most important thing. Even myself, like I had such a up and down childhood, broken in different ways, but I think the one thing that I know, no matter what, I was lucky to have from my mum, my family, was this love, unconditional love. And yeah, I'm very a huggy, loving person in that way. I'm very emotive, and that's like my love language, like, you know what I mean, to feel secure, feel safe.
Yeah. And was your family very accepting with your sexuality?
Yeah, I know it's quite the taboo, especially coming from a Black Caribbean family. It's not normal easily for many other Black men. But for me, I never want to say I'm fortunate or lucky, because I don't think why I should say that. It shouldn't have to be. But in terms of that, I'm quite lucky. But yeah, never no issue. My family's quite very open-minded. Do your thing, just be right, love people, treat people well, and that's it. So be whoever you want to be. That's always been pushed into me from my mum from a very young age. Never judge anyone. Yeah, so there was never any issue in coming out. I did have a bit of an issue with one of my brothers, but besides him, that's fine. But like, as long as my mum, even like my gran, talking to my gran, like Damon's fully invested in my family. They met my ex, you know what I mean? So it was never an issue.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear. Well, Mekel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Had a very, your work has been really interesting to hear about.
Thank you.
But also, you're an inspiring guy.
Oh, far from just a normal guy.
You have a lovely voice, so I feel jealous of anyone listening to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.